Thank you so much for staying with us right here on WION Wallet, and welcome back. Now, Sunday saw the running of the Geetanjali Indian 1000 Guineas Grade 1, the first classic of the Indian horse racing calendar. For 3-year-old fillies at the Mahalakshmi racecourse in Mumbai, we saw absolute contention coming in there from Hall of Famer Serenity and Ladonna and Mrs. Patmore as well. And of course, it was left to see who comes out as the winner of the Indian 1000 Guineas. Take a look at this package. 16 fillies reported to the starting gate, and the gates opened to the running of this race. While Serenity was the most fancied contender in the fray, with the Bangalore-based Hall of Famer, this race saw an upset with Mrs. Patmore, sired by Holy Roman Emperor out of British Eliza Gilbert, show some splendid turn of foot to take the coveted classic home. With a rating of 49, this champion filly showed prowess as she beat the field to prove her mettle. Trained by Pacey Shroff and owned by Kushru Danjiboy and Vijay Shirke, this filly was bred at the Nanoli stud farm. She now becomes a much-fancied contender for the Indian Oaks Grade 1 and the running of the Indian Derby early next year. While all looks hunky-dory on the outside, the reality of the sport is different. The race club is working hard to hold fort despite the recent demonetization move of the government, which has impacted the sport to quite an extent.
Demonetization has clearly impacted all clubs. As we know, racing is largely a 100% cash business. Historically, it has been, and in fact is so all over the world.
The sale of the thoroughbreds also stands to be impacted, perhaps making the prices more attractive.
I believe the breeding industry will also be very badly hit. The sale of horses, again, there was a cash element in the buying of horses. But we do hope that in the long run it will clean up the sport. But in the interim period, it will surely impact the market for thoroughbred horses.
The GST rollout too has concerns on the sale of the bloodstock, where the club is working hard to seek clarity on the 23% tax slab.
Well, GST, it depends on how the government implements it. It could be either very positive for clubs or very negative. The GST rates have not yet been frozen. The finance minister has talk of rates from 0 to 28%, plus a cess on certain higher luxury items. We have already represented to the government that racing is a sport, must be viewed as a sport, and it cannot and should not attract either the highest rate of tax or the cess on it. So we are awaiting the notifications of that, and hopefully we will be able to succeed.
The club has reported losses of 25 crore rupees and cut stakes from the owner's kitty, impacting stakes that otherwise run higher.
The owners are naturally disturbed, but I must say they've been very cooperative. Everybody knows the difficulty the sport is facing. We have reached out to all our stakeholders, owners, trainers, breeders, bookmakers. They all appreciate the problem, and for the survival of the club, they have come forth. The only question is how long it will take, and we are doing our best on that front.
The Sport of Kings now gears up to the running of the Indian 2000 Guineas Grade 1, where top 3-year-old colts will face contention with the top 3-year-old young ladies, setting stage for the outcome of the Indian Derby Grade 1, the biggest race that bites the dust in India in February next year. Chethi Narula for WION. There you go, demonetization and the GST rollout impacting the sport of horse racing as well. And Mrs. Patmore crossing the line and showing some splendid turn of foot as she takes home the Indian 1000 Guineas Grade 1. We're going to keep a close watch on how the Indian 2000 Guineas, which is 3-year-old colts and fillies coming into contention with each other, pan out to be coming weekend. Now,